It's my pleasure to welcome everyone, all members, invitees, and the internet audience, including members of the media, to the open session of the annual business meeting of this Campus Council for 2020. I would like now to introduce the Pro Vice-Chancellor and Principal of Cave Hill Campus, the Most Honourable Professor Udine Barreto, and invite her to deliver the annual report to Council consisting of papers 1, 1A, and 1B.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Chair, Sir Paul Altman, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Mr. Brent Romney, Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Home Affairs, Education and Library Services of Anguilla, joining us by Zoom. Other distinguished representatives of government, Dr. Maurice Smith, University Registrar, Professor Dale Weber, Pro Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the Mona Campus, joining us by Zoom. Professor Denzel Williams, Pro Vice-Chancellor, Planning. Professor Clive Landis, Pro Vice-Chancellor, Board for Undergraduate Studies. Dr. Richard Bernal, Pro Vice-Chancellor, Global Affairs. Mrs. Andrea McNeish, University Bursar. All members of Council, our newly re-elected President of the Guild of Students, Ms. Thatcher Lutin, and the postgrad representative who has also been newly re-elected. Viewers over the web and cable, members of the media, good morning, a healthy good morning to everyone, and welcome to the annual business meeting of Council. Chair, on this day, 41 years ago, this very day, I was a very excited Grenadian social science student, celebrating with other students and my political science lecturers, Dr. Neville Duncan and a Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, the peaceful overthrow of the Gary government in Grenada, and the coming into power of the Maurice Bishop-led People's Revolutionary Government. How time flies. I think if there is anything that I've learned since those heady student days, is that whether we like it or not, meaningful change, if it occurs, can be incremental and unpredictable. Chair, I am once again honored to present this year's report to members of Council on the work of the Cave Hill campus since we met a year ago. It has been a productive and eventful year. Last year, I declared our prospects were looking up, and like our iconic blackbirds, the campus was ready to soar. We were poised to experience the sunshine of our prudent management and careful navigation of austerity. Today, I declare the Cave Hill campus is more than ready to fulfill the UWI's mission to revitalize the economies and societies of Barbados and CARICOM countries. We are committed to assisting governments to benefit from the rich indigenous resources of the blue and orange economies. Cave Hill mantra in the past 5 years has been, the UWI Cave Hill campus is greater than and would not be defined by the combination of challenges it had to confront and contain. In other words, Cave Hill campus is an indelible part, an indelible feature of the social and economic fabric of Barbados and the Caribbean. It is a permanent pillar of a global university rooted in the Caribbean. Members of Council, the campus remains fully engaged in implementing the goals of the third year of the AAA strategic plans. We continue to effectively deploy internationalization and the Smart Campus Initiative as the two overarching strategies to assist the campus in navigating austerity, engineering or recovery, and seamlessly facilitating the delivery of the goals of the strategic plan. These strategies undergird the two new positions, I should say, adopted by the university at its September 2019 Executive Management Retreat. The first is the Tenant 2 initiative, which means that we are seeking to reduce by 5% per year expenditure for the first 2 years and increase our revenue by 5% per year for 2 years. The second initiative that we adopted was what we called then 5 future pillars, but I'm saying they are in fact the 5 pillars. They're no longer future because we are using them of the UWI. And there they are: entrepreneurial, multilingual. In other words, we are saying that the university must be entrepreneurial, it must be multilingual, it has to be global, climate smart. We committed to digital transformation and to be global online. And all of those are very much part of what we are continuing to do. So in the presentation, I will review our achievements of the campus in the past year, share the major initiatives that we have undertaken or that we seek to undertake, and indicate the way forward for the Cavell campus. So let's look at our achievements. We continue to advance our core values of student-centeredness, integrity, gender justice, excellence, and diversity. Our students continue to be the bedrock of our mission. Our activities deepen student-centeredness, improve the teaching and learning environment, and grow student enrollment. And we also introduce measures to earn revenue for the campus, the second part of the initiatives we adopted in September, which I should say has always been a commitment. I think we reinforced it because the university and certainly the Cavell campus has always been committed to earning revenue, but we are putting this on the front burner. The last academic year proved to be eventfully satisfying. The campus worked to improve access through designing new programs and improving the quality of teaching, learning, and student development, promoting alignment through pursuing greater academic activism and public advocacy while strengthening and improving academic, industry, government, research partnerships, and achieving agility through substantial gains in using the Smart Campus Initiative towards the digital transformation of the campus and UWI and the promotion of renewable energy measures. In the process, you will see, Chair and colleagues, that the Cavell campus achieved significant cost savings. In the last year, the campus successfully completed a rigorous re-accreditation review and was awarded the maximum period of 7 years from 2019 to 2026. This means, colleagues, that our programs, infrastructural development, and operational procedures have received the highest stamp of approval. The assessors, however, I'm not going to just give you all a rosy picture. The assessors did express concerns about the renewal or replacement of aspects of the infrastructure of the Faculty of Science and Technology. They noted student concerns about aspects of campus security, total Wi-Fi coverage, and the reluctance of older lecturers to use online pedagogical platforms. But on the whole, the assessors noted the students believed that their issues were taken seriously and that a lot of what they cared about was reflected in the operations of the campus. And this is their conclusion of the report. The leadership team has navigated successfully the difficult set of circumstances of the withdrawal of tuition fees and the substantial fall in enrollment. Few higher education institutions have faced a fall in enrollment of this scale and over a very short time scale, because in like 3 years we went very quickly to 40% drop off. The success of the campus in dealing with it gives confidence in the ability of the leadership and staff of the campus to cope with any future challenging change. So we were pleased for this confirmation of the leadership of the campus. Another achievement in the past year, the Faculty of Medical Sciences successfully requalified as fulfilling the requirements for maintaining comparability of standards with medical education in the United States. The Cavell campus was assessed by the National Committee on Foreign Medical Education and Accreditation, NCFMEA, which is a division of the U.S. Department of Education. And by attaining this comparability of standards, this amounts to a double accreditation for the Faculty of Medical Sciences, a double accreditation at Cavell, since all the Faculty of Medical Sciences at UWI were re-accredited for 3 years in July 2019 by the Caribbean Accreditation Authority for Education in Medicine and Health Professions. And I want to thank Dean Adams and his team for ensuring the high standards in the Faculty of Medicine. The campus renewed its MOU with the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The MOU formally confirms that the QEH, the geriatric and psychiatric hospitals, as well as the local polyclinics, are clinical training sites for the Cavell campus Faculty of Medicine. Very important, because now in the last 7 to 8 years, we have been operating in a competitive environment, so to speak, and the government, in fact, has reaffirmed that we have access to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and other sites for clinical training. In fact, the MOU strengthens these existing relationships, and the Minister of Health, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, at the signing, describes the Faculty of Medicine at Cavell as the bedrock of the healthcare system in Barbados, and I thank the Minister of Health for that confirmation of his views of what we do here. We have delivered on the new initiatives we promised last year in terms of expanding access, responding to public requests, and ensuring the campus reflects a university for all. The campus launched the School of Governance and Public Policy. We promised it last year and we launched it. Preceding the launch, however, the campus signed an MOU with the government of Barbados to provide public sector employees with additional opportunities for self-improvement and career advancement. The school is not a physical structure. It constitutes an interdisciplinary programming division under the leadership of the Department of Government, Sociology, Social Work, and Psychology, and it is aligned with the Center for Professional Development and Lifelong Learning, both within the Faculty of Social Sciences. We have designed this specialized training hub specifically to facilitate human resource development within the public sector, parastatal and civil society organizations in Barbados and the Caribbean. And we thank Cada, who has agreed to work collaboratively with us to offer the training in 3 strands, for entry level, new members of the service, middle management, and senior leadership. And I also want to thank the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Justin Robinson, and Dr. Wendy Grenade, and Dr. Dion Greenwich for their work on this. Last year, we promised that the campus would symbolically break ground for the construction of a 100-room dorm block, constituting a multi-million-dollar investment project. We did. We broke the ground. The additional accommodation, and we're going to build the hall too. The additional accommodation supports the campus' strategic initiative of attracting regional and international students through the successful marketing of its program. Under the expert guidance of the Caribbean Development Bank's unit on public-private partnership. And we have Mr. Bryan Samuel here from the Caribbean Development Bank and representing that unit. We have, and they have been providing us with expert guidance. We are currently evaluating the bids from local companies to construct a student accommodation block to house 97 students through a public-private partnership on the bolt, operate, lease, and transfer basis. We anticipate we will start no later than July this year, on or before July, and the block will incorporate renewable energy features, upgraded suites, so that there will be single and double en suite units, as well as the provision of ACs in the bedrooms, Ms. Luton. So this hall of residence will, with this hall of residence, the complex will now be known as the Clarendon Student Housing Complex, because we'll have the Keith Hunt halls and another hall of residence, and who knows, because we did have approval probably about 10 years ago to have 3 blocks. So now we are advancing to the 2nd block, and I know that as the Cable campus expands, that 3rd block will be built. Emancipation Day, August 1st, 2020, at the Cable campus will be memorable and historic. On that day, we will launch our 7th faculty, the UWI's 9th, and the 2nd uniquely located at Cable since the Faculty of Law was established in 1970. The University Senate approved the campus's proposal to establish a Faculty of Culture, Creative, and Performing Arts. I want to thank Senator Lisa Cummins and her team who piloted the proposal, the extension of the proposal prepared by Cable. When we establish this faculty, we are building on the wealth of Caribbean scholarship, culture, creativity, and creative imagination to support regional, economic, and social development. Former UNESCO director, and she was a guest of the Cable campus, I remember her being here, former UNESCO Director General Irina Bukova stated, creative industries are major drivers of the economies of developed as well as developing countries. Indeed, they are among the most rapidly growing sectors worldwide. It influences income generation, job creation, and export earnings. It can forge a better future for many countries around the globe. The faculty positions Barbados and the Caribbean into a highly specialized niche space in the global industry. And that today, that space, the global industry in the creative industries, accounts for US $2.225 trillion, or 3% of the world's GDP. And yet, in spite of our rich cultural legacy, sub-regional data on the Caribbean locates the region at a level far below its market potential. The existence of the faculty will seek to correct that. The Caribbean is one of the lowest regions in the world, yet Caribbean culture is consumed and exploited worldwide. The faculty enables the government, the UWI, to support governments who intend to grow the cultural sectors and create industries to push entrepreneurship and innovation. It enables the campus to hone the talents and skills of Caribbean citizens in the cultural and creative sectors. It advances internationalization and UWI's strategic goal of expanding access, earning revenue, and restoring our financial health. Chair, a major achievement of the campus is the cost savings generated through implementing many measures over the past 5 years. And I have to reiterate, we did this without any layoffs. So much so that when the university adopted the Tenant 2 initiative on cost reduction, the Cable campus was not daunted. The measures we had implemented put us ahead of the curve in cost reduction. We reduced expenditure at Cable by 5.4% between 2016 and 2018. This, colleagues, is a major achievement, and we are on track to maintaining reduced expenditure. I want to thank the leadership of the campus bursar, Ms. Lisa Aline, and all senior management, the deans, all colleagues, and our students for working collectively with the campus to achieve this. You may ask, well, how did they do that? They said they didn't lay off anyone. Well, we aggressively pursued renewable energy strategies, reduced adjunct staff, upgraded to Banner 9 in the cloud, streamlined or created new administrative units for greater efficiency, such as institutional planning and infrastructural services, known as in place, and introduced the Enterprise System Support Unit, in addition to ensuring a steady movement towards a paperless system. Again, under the leadership of the campus bursar, who with this hat is chair of the Renewable Energy Committee, and with the expert involvement of Ms. Natasha Corbin, the campus has installed solar photovoltaic systems on several roofs. And if you see, we aren't finished yet, but if you look in the column on the far right, you would see the savings so far annually is projected at $98,000 plus per year. We also replace inefficient units as it relates to retrofitted and replace lighting, the LED lighting. And again, this is an ongoing project. We aren't finished yet with that. And we replace inefficient AC units with the inverter type units and installed occupancy sensors for lights and AC units in high traffic areas. And you can see from what we have done so far, again, the projected savings are $56,000 plus per year. It adds up, and we are grateful. The campus fully supports the digital transformation of the university, one of the 5 pillars that I pointed out to you. Our Smart Campus initiative is over 3 years old, and we have made many gains. Chair, last year I stated the campus needed to upgrade its aging IT infrastructure. I am pleased to inform Council that we did so. We have upgraded to Banner 9 in the cloud, and we are live. We negotiated and received a manageable pricing structure and payment plan. We made the transition in time for the start of this academic year, that is August 1st last year. And that start was seamless and incident-free in terms of registration in August 2019. However, for this semester, we had some challenges in January 2020, some of which were due to our own internal processes, and others are attributed to the provider Ellucian, which we are currently working through. However, the campus expects the ongoing transformation of our online services, especially improvements to students and client experiences. The move to the cloud means, Chair and colleagues, that the risks of hardware failure or damage from natural disasters such as hurricanes are eliminated. Chair, both of our major service platforms, Banner 9, our student and finance administration system, and Microsoft Office 365, our suite of applications for business productivity, both of these platforms are live and in the cloud. And we are the only campus with both of these enterprise systems operating live and in the cloud. Kayville is fully on the way. We're not there yet, fully on the way to becoming a smart campus for the 21st century. We have successfully advanced many initiatives on the way to becoming that smart campus and supporting the broad digital transformation of the UWI. The Campus Information and Technology Service Units, SITS, constitutes the nerve center for the Smart Campus Initiative and UWI's digital transformation. SITS is ideally located to ensure vastly improved internal operating processes. SITS has introduced many information technology initiatives, resulting in noticeable upgrades in the systems and operating processes. What are some of the things SITS has done? They have moved campus internet bandwidth from 700 megabits per second to 1.2 gigabits per second, and this without any cost increase. Thank you. They have provided 300 megabits per second links to remote sites such as the George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and the Errol Waldron Building. SITS deployed 450 additional wireless access points across the campus students, bringing the total wireless access points to 600. And they have done this by targeting teaching spaces and leisure spaces and the libraries and halls of residence. They have upgraded 700 users, each with 1 terabyte of storage, to Microsoft Office 365, thus enabling users to access email and data storage in Microsoft Office 365 and the cloud. And they have enabled widespread access to collaboration tools such as Microsoft SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, and Power Apps. All these tools significantly improve teaching, learning, and collaborative work. I wish to thank Mr. Keith Innes and the teams at SITS for the excellent work they have been doing to support the campus. I move to some initiatives under the Smart Campus Initiative. The adoption rate for the campus app remains very high and continues to be widely used as a secure tool and social media platform for students, faculty, and administrative staff. The app, and you can see the statistics there on usage, has created a digital community that encourages students to communicate with each other, explore the environment, and gather information to problem solve. The campus has stopped some improvements. We have stopped printing examination cards, and all students were admitted to semester 1 examinations in December last year by the digital scanning of their cards, their UWI ID cards. This was introduced again, Chair, believe it or not, without any disruptions, and the students appreciated it. I was sitting in my office saying, oh dear, first day, second day, and it worked. The benefits are multiple. We reduce the cost of high volume printing. We ensure more efficient management of examinations and exam room allocations. And critically, we provide data that may be used to identify students at risk, because we know very quickly when students do not turn up for examinations, because we don't have to wait till the end of the exam period to find out a particular student was missing. Because when you scan the ID card, they're admitted, they should be at an examination and they didn't come, that information is readily available. We have also introduced digital payment platforms through the M-Money Merchant Solutions. This allows students and staff and members of the public to use digital payment on the campus. Now, colleagues, in this case, it is M-Money. But what we are really demonstrating is that we have the capacity on the campus to take digital payments at the bookstore. We are piloted at the bookstore. So whether it's M-Money or another digital payment platform, the point is we have piloted that. And the third area that I want to emphasize, coming from our Smart Campus Initiative, we are implementing a new management system for the campus shuttle service, which will be integrated into the campus app. So the students are going to be able to use their app to look and see where the shuttle is. Should I come out now? Well, you may have to come out earlier to get in the queue. But if the bus is downtown, you get another 30 minutes in the library. All linemen. The system will enable real-time shuttle tracking, and it would allow administration to know where the buses are. Or did one manage to wander off the route, like it should be coming from Bridgetown, but somehow the bus is showing up on the map in St. Lucie? With the IDs, the students will use digital check-in for boarding the shuttles. And this enables the campus, as I said, to collect information on ridership, prevent unauthorized use, because then, you know, if you're not supposed to be on the shuttle, you can't board it if you don't have the ID. But happily, it will enable better fleet management, allowing the shuttle administrators to capture information for maintenance, availability, and scheduling. And all of these initiatives are led by Smart Campus Coordinator, Mr. David Marshall. And I want to thank him for his energy and for really insisting that we introduce and implement all of the activities of the Smart Campus Initiative. All departments were asked to identify what they're doing to advance the smart campus and also the digital transformation of the university. And the department, the Office of Marketing and Communication, they did this as their smart campus initiative. And this meant we gave this to each student graduating last year. And each and every one of the 1,300 plus graduates received a video clip of their graduation as our graduation gift to them. The students loved it, and I'm going to demonstrate it just now. They shared the clips widely while sending and sharing very positive feedback to us. This enabled the campus to improve alumni relations, leave a lasting positive impression with new graduates, and allows the campus to market itself and widen its reach and its global, both its global footprint and its location viewing. We now look at expanding access through internationalization. The campus had a very successful visit to the University of Nairobi and Kenyatta universities, which was an outcome of our participation in a business forum between the government of Barbados and the Republic of Kenya. During the visit, we toured university campuses, signed 2 memoranda of understanding, and held discussions with cabinet secretaries for education and health, respectively. The cabinet secretary for health, Mrs. Cicely Kakuri, was very interested in her technical staff enrolling in the Executive MBA Public Health Care Management, and noted that they were very interested in pursuing it because it is totally online program. And I think Professor Robinson, in his hat as acting executive director of the Sajiko Cavell School of Business and Management, is following up in this regard. So there are multiple other benefits and activities coming out of those visits, and later on, Chair, at another time you will hear of it. The work of the Confucius Institute remains central to our internationalization agenda. We successfully hosted our annual board meeting last year here at Cavell, as well as attended the International Chinese Language Education Conference in China. So some of us were in China last December, and we came back out. We held a very productive meeting with the Deputy Director of Hanban, Madame Jing Wei, who is sitting next to me in the picture on the left. And this was, she asked for the meeting, and this is very significant because she heads 500 Confucius Institutes worldwide, and she doesn't really meet with a lot of persons when she is at the conference, but she asked to meet with the Cavell delegation, so we were very honored to meet with her, and these are some of the colleagues for the board meeting. We discussed many strategic activities, and she thanked us for the excellent work that the Confucius Institute is continuing to offer in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. They undertake excellent work. As you can see here, this table documents the work of the CI in this instance in ensuring proficiency in Mandarin, a commitment the Barbados government has given that students must have be bilingual and in 2 languages, Spanish, and the Prime Minister had in fact identified Mandarin. And the Confucius Institute is doing excellent work in that regard. There are, at the end of the last academic year, 2,507 persons had taken various classes and workshops to advance that understanding of Mandarin. The Confucius Institute also continues to work collaboratively with many faculties and departments to expand their reach, even as they consolidated and strengthened the valuable work on the campus. And they work with Faculty of Humanities and Education, the Sridhar Ramphal Trade Center, and Sir Arthur Lewis Institute for Social and Economic Studies. The CI has also done significant work in preparing our students to pursue 2 years, our software engineering students, to pursue 2 years of study in China. But we all know that COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, disrupted daily life in China starting in January, we would say. Our software engineering students in the UWI program were on an extended winter break when the novel coronavirus broke out. Many returned to the Caribbean by late January, that is the Caville students. The campus and the university were both proactive and appointed supervisory teams, which have been very proactive in managing the welfare of our students on the program in China. Currently, there are 5 Caville students and 16 Mona students in Suzhou, China. 2 days ago, I spoke with the assistant registrar, and he assured me that they're all well. They're doing very well. Suzhou is out of the danger zone, and all the cohort 2 students who are there, that is the 21 students who are there, have resumed classes online in China at the Global Institute for Software Technology. The students who have returned to Caville, we have arranged internship for all 9 of the Caville students who were final year students in China. And they're the ones who would have completed their internship had they not returned home. The campus wants to thank Program Coordinator Dr. Sylvia Henry for the excellent work that she has done in liaison between parents and parents and the university and the students in China. But we especially want to thank Mr. Justin Seal, the assistant registrar who is located in China, and he has gone beyond the call of duty in looking after the academic, social, and medical well-being of all UWI students in China. That young man was working 24/7 and continues to work that way. The Center for English Language Learning of the Faculty of Humanities and Education advances the campus revenue earning capacity through attracting regional and international participants to its specialized immersion training program. The center offered English in the Caribbean for interpreters of the International Association of Conference Interpreters, English as a second language with ecotourism to Martinican students, university students, intensive ESL, that is English as a second language program for pre-university students from Martinique, and the teaching of English to speakers of other languages, the professional development program. They also offered English as a second language to Colombian tourism officials. Chair, along with these regular short-term immersion programs, the campus intends, we think we need to build capacity to support non-English speaking persons in pursuing full undergraduate degrees at the Caville campus. In other words, we have to move beyond people just coming and get immersion and leaving and come and do a full degree, an undergraduate degree. Even if English is not your first language, we think that the Center for English Language Learning and the broader support of the foundation program, we can provide that scaffolding to allow non-English speaking students to take our degrees, much as when our students get scholarships to other countries where the language is not English. Say, for example, in China, they spend a year learning the language. We have had visits from officials from the respective ministries of education, from the Dutch Caribbean and the French Caribbean, exploring the possibilities of their citizens pursuing these degrees at Caville, and they said to me, Professor Barito, it is very expensive to send students from St. Martin to the Netherlands or to France. And culturally, we would also like to have them integrate with Caribbean citizens. So we think that the Center for English Language Learning, Professor Oshieng Odiambo, has a fantastic role to play, and the Foundation Language Program, both of the Faculty of Humanities and Education in this. And overall, I want to thank Dr. Stacy Denny for the excellent work she is doing with the Center for English Language Learning, and the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Oshieng Odiambo, and his colleagues for the excellent support they provide to this small unit that is having such a significant outreach. Thank you. The Caville campus has worked to improve the quality of the teaching, learning, environment and student development at the campus. We have appointed a quality management team, and again, you can see it's a wide cross-section of what we have: Mr. Lovell, the bursar, the campus registrar or deputy principal, and of course, Ms. Lutin and Khadija Holder, the quality assurance officer. We work to ensure that the students really appreciate the work we try to do in this regard. And Dr. Haynes had not even known of this. A former student posted this on a social media site, and a member of staff sent it to me. And I thought it was such a beautiful testimony. I completed my bachelor's in management first class honors, but my passion was gender studies and always will be. What a beautiful young woman. I aced every gender studies elective that I ever took. Very grateful to my lecturer, Dr. Tonya Haynes, for the knowledge she imparted. This is really good that this student who graduated in October put this up about a month ago. So, and this is a reflection of the appreciation students have for what we try to do. We work to ensure that the campus is a more inclusive space for students with disabilities while expanding access for underserved community. We have completed an audit of classroom spaces to ensure that we are fully equipped to meet the needs of our visually impaired students. We thank the Maria Holder Trust for the gift of a van for students with mobility challenges. Chair, the word should go out there that Caville is an inclusive campus and all are welcome. Let's take a look at the student demographics for the last year. We see here that the total student population at the start of the current academic year is 6,164 students. This represents a 5.3% increase over last year's numbers of 5,856, as you can see. Now, last year when the Barbados government resumed paying tuition fees for Barbadian students, and by last year I mean last academic year, the percentage increase over the number 2 years earlier was 13.5%. In other words, the first year the policy was introduced, our numbers increased by 13.5%. Now we see that while the numbers have grown, the growth has been more gradual. So 13.5% the first year, and now 5.3%. Total student enrollment by faculty for 10 years, you can see there, all the faculties, with the exception of medicine, where we very rigidly control admissions, the numbers declined in the periods 2016 to 2018. That is when the change in policy of not paying fees started to bite. So we note that from the time the policy has been introduced, we see slight increases from 2018, 2019, and that continues. But we believe the increase will be gradual. This figure reveals student registration by faculty. The Faculty of Social Sciences educates 53% of our undergraduate students on the campus. The next largest tranche is in the Faculty of Science and Technology at 20%. This is the undergraduate level. At the graduate level, social sciences is now 44%, while humanities and education and medicine show significant increases in graduate enrollment at 25% and 12% respectively. The majority of our students are female. women and 34% are men. Now, it is at this point I miss Mr. Ed Clark, because I would like to say to him, we have had a 1% increase in male enrollment. We would like more, but I remember him last year saying to me, Professor Barito, you have to improve the enrollment in male students. And last year it was in fact 33%. Tiny, but we are grateful because we would like to see more men at the university and all our campuses. And we happen to think that Cavell has perhaps the healthiest enrollment of men at the University of the West Indies. Our students, part-time, 32%, and full-time, 68% of all students. As it relates to our honorary graduates, we were very pleased to honor Ms. Maxine Williams, International Director of Diversity at Facebook, Mr. Alan Emtage, Artificial Intelligence Pioneer and creator of the world's first internet search engine that he called Archie, and of course the lyrical genius and cultural ambassador, Mr. Stetson Wiltshire, the red plastic bag. For our students continue to achieve academically and athletically, and to impress us with the range of their achievements. Of our 1,300 students who graduated last year, 136 gained distinctions and first-class honors at the undergraduate level. So there were, thank you. There were 916 undergraduates and 136 gained distinctions and first-class honors. In medicine, you don't gain a first-class honor, it's called a distinction. At the graduate level, 48 of our students gained distinction at the master's level, while 5 gained high commendation at the PhD level. There were 292 advanced students who graduated with master's and PhD. The campus celebrated their achievements at the 4th annual Evening of Scholarly Excellence, and you see a very tall, dapper gentleman in the back. We were pleased to be joined by our university registrar who was attending for the first time, and of course, the chancellor and his wife. Our students, athletes, the campus and scholarship winners thanked donors at the annual Student Awards Gala. And of course, I just put 2 pictures to symbolize this, because we hold a gala every first Tuesday in April to thank all the donors who make scholarships possible for our students. Our student athletes continue to soar. In cricket, the Sagiko UWI Blackbirds cricket team won the Elite 3-day tournament and the Elite 50-over tournament. But their proudest achievement was capturing the Cricket West Indies Super 50 by the combined campuses and colleges CCC Marooners team. UWI Blackbird netballer Vanessa Bob was named, Cavell student was named UWI Sportswoman of the Year, and our star hockey player Akeem Rudder was invited to spend a semester in Europe training with a professional hockey team. The UWI Blackbird volleyball team, they dominated the 20, so, what was that? So sorry, all right. The UWI Blackbird volleyball team dominated the season, and they won the Goddard's Enterprises Limited Division I Volleyball League title. And this was accompanied by a 14-0 record in the league competition. In the league competition, nobody beat them. They didn't lose 1 game. The UWI Blackbirds hockey team also triumphed by winning both the men's and women's UWI Scrimfest hockey championship. And I really want to thank Mrs. Amanda Reefer and the team at the Academy of Sport of the Faculty of Sport for the continuing excellent work with our students athletes. Chair, the next athletes I would present, I'm very partial to. I think, as I say, I'm the daughter of a fisherman, and I was born near the sea, and anything involving the sea thrills me. And our Blackbird sailing team chair, they epitomize the indomitable spirit of the Cave Hill campus. In the sailing season, chair, I want you to listen very carefully. In the sailing season, they were the first to cross the start line. They were the first to cross the start line in all but the final race. This is not on the starting blocks, you're in the sea. It's not easy to cross the start line in the sea. And in the words of the captain, Franchero Ellis, and you can see me has the biggest smile there, he says, "This is no small feat," as other vessels were circling like sharks. So our sailing team were the first to cross the start line in all but.
I was in that race, and I can tell you, they did very, very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. And the name of the boat is Oiseau Noir. Now, if you have no French or patois, you wouldn't know. Oiseau Noir means black bird. And Oiseau Noir received the Perseverance Award for sailing into the hearts of the sailing community. I am very proud of our sailors. They just need a kind of better boat. Yeah, I feel we could give them a round of applause. I mean, come on. And you can tell they're enjoying it. I intend to have a sail with them at some point, I'm telling you. Members of Council, Prime Minister, the Honorable Mayor Amo Motley states that the economies of Barbados and the Caribbean continue to experience anemic growth. With all the social and economic challenges Caribbean countries face, at Cave Hill, we believe that the UWI must assist governments in designing policies and programs to address societal change and economic growth. And the initiatives that we are proposing, and there are just four of them because one is operationalizing an existing initiative, advance the AAA strategic plan, build capacity in the Caribbean, and exploit the potential benefits of the blue and creative economies. And our first initiative proposes strengthening SERMES to unlock the potential of the blue and green economies by establishing a new division called the Division of Climate Adaptation and Environmental Sustainability. For over 30 years, the Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies, that we just call SERMES, sometimes we don't even know, we just say SERMES, but that's what it is. That SERMES has made and continues to make an indelible contribution to the formulation of policies and the management of environmental resources. SERMES is established and regionally and internationally respected. SERMES routinely brings in the most grant funding every year, with the current total. When I asked the bursar, what is the grants SERMES earned this year? The current total averages $1.4 million. Scientists at SERMES are currently, and here you have a picture of the staff, and this is the total academic and senior admin and professional and technical. The scientists at SERMES are currently engaged in nearly 20 applied research and development projects with regional and international partners such as FAO, UNDP, European Union, the Nature Conservancy, Caribbean Biodiversity Funds. I could stop here, over 20. The campus is extremely satisfied with the outstanding contribution of SERMES. And we think that this is the time to unleash SERMES to assist the governments of the region in untapping unlocking the potential of the blue economy. And to do so, we must expand SERMIs. And I'm not calling, I know y'all are used to Professor Barito saying a new faculty or a new center. I'm not calling for any new faculty or any new center. I am saying expand SERMIs by establishing a new division for climate adaptation and environmental sustainability. Now is the time to do so. Now is the time to unleash SERMIs to fully address climate adaptation and environmental sustainability. What will this new division do? This new division will strengthen the capacity for undertaking applied interdisciplinary research as it relates to climate action, water resources, clean energy, marine affairs, food security, and other cross-cutting areas. In national and regional areas of priority, the work that SERMIs will do will also ensure that we have professional certified energy auditors to expert climate change negotiators, all if we enable SERMIs to have the capacity to do that. And we know that, for instance, that SERMIs has a long track record. SERMIs was part of the campus committee that produced the Barbados Green Economy Scoping Study in 2014, and our own deputy principal, Professor Moore, who was then in the Department of Economics, made a substantial input into that paper. And why do we need to expand SERMIs and ensure it has the capacity to assist governments? Well, under Article 13 of the Paris Agreement, COP21, all Caribbean countries are expected to conform with an enhanced transparency framework. But it goes beyond expected to conform because they signed on, so they have to deliver. They are required to produce national inventory reports. They are required to produce biennial transparency reports. They are all Caribbean countries, that is CARICOM countries, are currently revising their nationally determined contributions to demonstrate that what they're doing to reduce carbon emissions. They currently pay international expertise to do so, even when these international consultants hire our local people as part of their teams, because they get the contract and then they turn around and hire our local people to do that work, and it constitutes a brain drain. And we are saying that we have the resources in the region, and SERMIs represents an excellent hub that will enable us to do that. The region does not have the expertise, and as a result, we are importing that analytical capabilities. And if we resource SERMIs properly, we can do that. So what would be the work program of this new division I'm proposing? That new division would revamp, expand, and add new programs. They would organize the existing research clusters, land management, environmental resilience, and land management here is different. We're not talking about quantity surveying and so on. The use of the land and how best to use that resources. Environmental resilience, sustainable energy management, and very important, the fourth area, air quality management. Air quality management is entirely new, but long overdue. It focuses on indoor air quality. At the Faculty of Science and Technology, through Dr. Garner O'Neill, had helped in dealing with indoor air quality at the Supreme Court, and the Parliament of Barbados is closed with 6 building syndrome. Ambient air quality focuses on ozone concentration and the prevalence of particles in the air from burning tires. I'm not sure if I showed you the burning tires, did I? This happened right here in Barbados. If we have a unit looking at air management, the quality, air quality management, we will train persons, and the information they produce will provide definitive information for the quality of life for Caribbean citizens, and sophisticated scientific information for investors. That is, the other picture is of Port of Spain covered with the Sahara dust. Hermes would also train the next generation of Caribbean scientists, researchers, and technocrats and technicians. Here you see work on the Sargassum. And so let me say that 5 years ago, Hermes mounted the first regional symposium on the management of the Sargassum. It was August 16, 2015, and we had participation from around the region. That was a very proactive response to the beginning of the problem of Sargassum turning up on our shores. Hermes, the new division will also undertake research and training programs on innovative energy technology, deliver advanced postgraduate programs and short certificate professional courses, which would employ many modalities, online, face-to-face, blended, and of course using other UE entities like the Center for Professional Development and Lifelong Learning. They will provide an independent source of Caribbean expertise to advise Caribbean members of the Association of Small Island States, and in the process fill the deficiency gap in negotiations on issues of climate change and mitigation and adaptation with scientific knowledge and data required to inform negotiating positions. Hermes, the expanded division, will contribute further to downscale climate modeling, projections and adaptation measures, and build interdisciplinary networks and transdisciplinary networks. So this division is long overdue, and they can do it. The second area that I have to put to you, colleagues and chair, is the development of the St. Joseph lands, which would enable us to expand access. The campus is currently reviewing the first draft of a legal document that enables us to establish a charity to be known as the Cavell University Hospital. This will enable the government of Barbados to vest 70% of the St. Joseph Hospital lands in this charitable entity called the Cavell University Hospital. For the campus, it enables us to operate a hospital with a partner to pursue the goal of delivering the highest quality of health care and superior clinical outcomes while advancing medical research and medical education. The third area I would like to look at is the revitalization of the faculty and infrastructural renewal of the Faculty of Science and Technology, but specifically establishing a commercial analytical lab. We know that the campus, the university, has to be at the forefront of the latest research and innovation in science and technology, and rebuilding the faculty is an imperative. The campus, it will enable the campus to assist governments in establishing smart cities, introducing e-technologies, and of course, it will result in the overall promotion of growth in science, technology, mathematics, and education. You remember what I told you, the assessors for the institutional accreditation noted they were concerned in relation to their concerns about the state of the Faculty of Science and Technology. And this now remains, the total renewal of the Faculty of Science and Technology remains the single largest strategic planning imperative of the campus. We cannot escape it. It has to be done. With a CDB grant, funded grant, Mindbloom consultants completed a feasibility study, and they informed us of the outcomes, and the recommendations were programmatic and infrastructural. But the one that I want to focus on this morning is that they have advised us that we should establish a commercial analytical laboratory And we have taken that very seriously, and we are taking moves to establish this laboratory, because when we undertook our consultations in the wider society, the consultations chair reveals great demand from the private sector for those services, since there is no existing local facility catering to their needs. With this laboratory, companies will no longer have to send their requests for laboratory services, specialized laboratory services, to North America. And the work done by the deputy principal and his team revealed that in the first year of operation, PBC Williams planning, that facility will earn us $1.32 million in its first year of operations. And we have already identified a building that is detached and ideally located and ready to be used with a little injection of capital, of course, a little startup, resources. But we see this as something that we have to do. And after that first year of operation, we project growth of 5 to 10%. We have already spoken about the introduction of the Faculty of Culture, Creative, and Performing Arts, and now we are moving to operationalize that faculty. It will be comprised of a Department of Cultural Studies, offering postgraduate degrees in critical studies on a wide range of issues of Caribbean culture, and the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination, offering both undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in dance, film, and theater arts. Last year, when I was saying we could start a faculty without hiring one new person, all of the persons that have shown so far are persons who are on staff of the Cayville campus. However, we did have some positions that were vacant, and we moved to fill them, and we now have some new faculty members for the Faculty of Culture, Creative, and Performing Arts, and we are very excited about their involvement. Lecturers in dance, we have a lecturer in theater arts who's coming from August 1st on directing and acting and cinematography. The campus expects that in 2 years' time, it will be able to establish a department of the creative industries. An implementation and programming committee has been meeting and planning the smooth transition of the faculty, and in relation to internal demands and external consultations, and they have come up with a tentative menu of new programs. PVC Landis, we're going to keep you busy in the next year, coming to you at bus, but Cable maintains standards, so you don't have to worry. A lot of the programs are interdisciplinary programs. So far, we have identified double majors such as fine arts. So you will be doing a BA in fine arts, but you could do a BA in fine arts and management, fine arts and marketing, fine arts and international business. We discussed with the colleagues in Kenya, University of Nairobi, and Kenyatta University, marketing and visual communication. They're very strong in that. Dance music production. We see possibilities for dance and early childhood education. One of the new lecturers in dance also specializes in using dance to assist children who are autistic. One of the lecturers who is coming in theater, he has a specialization in speech therapy. So we have undergraduate degrees now in early childhood education. Imagine twinning that with a minor in speech therapy. So we see great possibilities, and I want to encourage all the deans and all the colleagues in department to start thinking of this new faculty as a way of expanding and creating new programs and raising enrollment in all areas. For instance, if we have a degree where a student majors in history and has a minor in theater arts, that degree is a degree in the Faculty of Humanities and Education. The committee is also negotiating partnership agreements with a world-class recording studio. I have to be a little, not until it's signed, but and the Barbados Independent Film Festival. Film Festival, the faculty is poised and ready for takeoff. Now, Chair, with a student body of over 6,000 students and a staff complement, total staff, part-time, full-time passing through, of 953 persons, it is way past the time for the campus to establish a day evening care center. This facility will service the campus and the neighboring community for daycare and provide after-school care for students, evening students and staff. More critically, students who are studying early childhood education will have a built-in laboratory to study early childhood behavior. The facility, again, PVC Williams, will be a commercial enterprise. We already know there is internal demand, and I remember when I was teaching, I would have students with their children sleeping at the back of my class because there was nowhere to put them. Now we'll have a facility where while you are studying, your child will be supervised and doing homework. The campus is currently undertaking a feasibility study to determine market demand. So we'll have a sense of the size that we need to go, but we know that it is long overdue and needs to be done. Our colleagues are very active in assisting our governments in the region. When it comes to alignment, we have prioritized access in pursuing our strategic objectives, but we are also paid very great attention to alignment. Members of staff provide extensive service nationally and regionally. And I can't dwell too long, I just want you to see this. They sit on a range of committees. And I have to say to the government of Barbados, you get value for your money in what you invest, and the governments of the region, or the government of Barbados, because our colleagues sit on multiple government committees. We give back in many ways, either chairing or in some capacity. And there is a goal of the strategic plan under alignment that 50% of the staff must be engaged. Well, I want to say that it is way beyond 50%. And that goal, that target, that initiative is supposed to be by the end of the strategic planning cycle. And I'm putting new persons, and I hope you see how many times I have been clicking. Because I have to show you how my colleagues are involved. They are involved, and there was a slide before that one too. We are continuing to give back, so we have exceeded that target on the strategic plan. Since we last met, we have staged the RBC race, UWI race for the kids twice. Because the last year when we met, we were going to have the race the following Sunday, and then we had this year's race last Sunday. And that race is very valuable, that particular corporate partnership. Last year, we raised $125,000 for the Student Hardship Fund, and it also support for the First Year Experience Program. Some other of our outreach activities, the Honorable Marsha Cada, Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs, delivered the IGDS NBU Nitabaro unit, my apologies, the Institute for Gender and Development Studies, a Nitabaro unit. Their International Women's Day lecture last year was delivered by the Minister, and the Sridhar Ramphal Trade Center hosted an evening chat with women shaping global economic government and trade. And some very distinguished panelists, as you can see, the Prime Minister of Barbados, another minister, Ambassador Gail Mathurin, and the Deputy Director General, Office of Trade Negotiations, CARICOM Secretariat, that's her. So excellent work by the Sridhar Ramphal Center. And this is just an example because I can't show you everything our colleagues do. The Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Faculty of Medical Sciences, offered training for healthcare providers in the therapeutic prescribing of medical marijuana products. We don't know when we are going to be prescribing medical marijuana. But if it is going to happen, the Caveville campus has played its part in preparing the medical profession and the pharmacists in that. Our other staff members continue to excel. We are delighted that Dr. Halima Deschamps, head of the Institute for Gender and Development Studies, was appointed Deputy Ambassador to represent her country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when they took up the chair as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. This is significant. Stop whispering at Professor Robinson about Vinci. We are very pleased that 4 members of our community since we last met have been promoted to the rank of professor. Professor Donna Maria Maynard, Professor Justin Robinson, Professor Philmo Aline, and Professor Troy Lord. Caveville is on the move. Professor Justin Robinson and Dr. Peter Adams also ensured that the Caveville campus featured among the distinguished awardees for the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence. 6 colleagues also distinguished themselves by earning the Principal's Award for Excellence. We congratulate them all. And Chair, I would like to break now and invite the Deputy Principal to be followed by the deans, sitting in the order in which they are, to present their reports on their respective portfolios over the last year. I thank you.
Sir, before Professor Moore, I'd just like to thank you and congratulate you on your comprehensive presentation, Principal. Thank you.
As you know, Professor Clive Landis, the former Deputy Principal, was appointed as the new Pro-Vice-Chancellor for the Board for Undergraduate Studies from 1st August 2019. Acknowledging the time frame of the reporting period, it would therefore be unforgivable not to mention the commendable work that my predecessor did with in his portfolio. And I'd like to identify one very interesting example, the UWI Games. So the UWI Games, planned on behalf of the UWI campus, was held at Mona from May 22nd to May 31st last year. The then Deputy Principal, Professor Clive Landis, chaired the local organizing committee and was able to achieve cost savings through a number of innovations. During this exercise, a common procurement initiative, which involved the sourcing of sports apparel from a single vendor to outfit all the athletes, was successfully undertaken. A few fundraising activities were also initiated, thus significantly contributing to the reduction of the expenses of the Games for the Caveville campus. On behalf of the campus, I wish to thank Professor Landis for not just this, but all the work he undertook during his tenure as the Deputy Principal. Chair, as one of the primary mandates of the Office of the Deputy Principal is the welfare of our students. And it's within this context, the Office of the Deputy Principal currently oversees the Office of Student Services, the Student Health Clinic, the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and the UWI HIV/AIDS Response Program, or UWI HARP. I wish to take a moment to acknowledge some of the key activities undertaken by these offices during the reporting period. The Office of Student Services. The Office of Student Services plays a key role in building an inclusive campus. The Department's First-Year Experience Program is an effective student retention and success tool. The program provides first-year students the tools and skills they need to acclimatize to the university life and covers issues related to mental health, career guidance, and leadership. In 2018-19, 91% of respondents indicated that the first-year experience helped them to better cope with university life. And the OSS also supports core curricular programs that help with the development of interpersonal, creative, leadership, management, social, as well as professional skills. The introduction of the campus app has also supported peer-to-peer interactions at many levels on the campus. The most innovative use to date has been as a tool for student entrepreneurship by providing a platform for the advertisement of goods and services among our students. In addition to the programs above, the OSS is also responsible for career counseling, psychological counseling, the student health plan, financial hardship, disabilities, chaplaincy, the campus shuttle, as well as the academic support clinic. During the reporting period, OSS recorded a total of 829 appointments for psychological or personal counseling. The principal would have mentioned the Students' Awards ceremony earlier, but I'd just like to give a couple statistics regarding the ceremony. At last year's ceremony, 101 scholarships were awarded to students for academic merit and financial need. Students facing financial hardships were also supported through the Student Hardship Fund, the Adopt a Student Fund, and the Student Emergency Fund. Demand for the services of the campus shuttle continued to be quite high in 2018-19, particularly as a result of the increase in bus fares from $2.50 to $3.50 on April 2019. As a result of this increase in bus fares, we would have seen a spike in the use of the campus shuttle. And in that period of time, 69,114 passengers would have departed the campus, and 60,885 passengers took the shuttle to the campus. I would also like to commend the Office of Student Services for their response to the Bahamas, the Hurricane Dorian that would have in fact affected the Bahamas over that period of time. On September 1st, 2019, we all watched as Hurricane Dorian made landfall on the Bahamas and left unforgettable devastation in its wake. This would have resulted in automatic response from the campus, spearheaded by the Office of Student Services, to provide outreach to our Bahamian students. Two key relief efforts were undertaken by the OSS to address the resulting hardships experienced by our Bahamian students. First, a food pantry was temporarily set up by the office, and significant amounts of food were donated by the campus community and or external campus stakeholders. The funds from the Student Hardship Fund were also mobilized after meeting with each of the affected students to ascertain the extent of their needs, and most of the needs identified related to the payment of rent and money to meet day-to-day expenditure. In the midst of all of this, the Office of Student Services, in the spirit of providing holistic care to our students, also provided counseling and psychological services. The Office of Business Development also supported the relief effort, and their efforts led to significant monetary donations from key partners, including CIBC First Caribbean Trust Foundation, Campus Smart, the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and Samacal Group of Companies, and a few others. And I'd just like to thank those companies for their donation. The Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. The Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning continues to do an excellent job in the professional teaching and training of new lecturers. All new lecturers at the campus are required to complete a postgraduate certificate in university teaching and learning, which exposes lecturers to the theory and practice of learning, assessment in higher education, teaching with the use of technology, and reflective teaching for learning. Up to 2019, there have been 162 graduates from this program, and CETL also plays a very important role in relation to curriculum renewal. During the reporting period, 584 out of 1,038 courses were revised and brought into the approved bus format. UWI HARP provides comprehensive information and coordinates various activities on the campus to ensure our student body are cognizant of safe sexual practices and their own sexual health. These activities include STI screening, which is done in collaboration with Student Health Services and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, as well as information activities where various themes surrounding sexual and reproductive health and rights are shared and discussed, as well as the SFL, which is an interactive discussion series on sexual health. One new area of activity I'd like to flag in the Deputy Principal's report is the area of entrepreneurship. One of the strategic objectives identified in the UWI AAA strategic plan relates to entrepreneurial activities. Although the evidence shows that the campus is progressing well within this framework, the Office of the Deputy Principal has taken a keen interest in entrepreneurial activities and objectives that span across all three pillars of the strategic plan. As a result, the following committees and offices all report to the Office of the Deputy Principal with the aim of amalgamating and coordinating key entrepreneurial initiatives emerging from the campus, including the Campus Entrepreneurial Committee, the CAFL Office of Research and Innovation, as well as the Office of Business Development. And Chair, I'll just like to give you a couple of the initiatives occurring under those three portfolios. The main objective of the UWI CAFL Campus Entrepreneurial Committee is to help the campus implement the goals outlined in the strategic plan related to the topic of entrepreneurship. The issue of entrepreneurship is captured under the strategic objective of alignment, AL2, increase and improve academic industry research partnerships, and the indicators related to the strategic objective include the number of spin-off companies, the number of patents commercialized by industry, and external stakeholders' perception score. To support the commercialization of research being done at the CAFL campus, each faculty has put in place a faculty entrepreneurial committee, which then feeds into the campus entrepreneurial committee. These committees monitor and promote entrepreneurial activities in faculties and units, engage with stakeholders, explore collaborations with other institutions, and work to promote the exposure to innovation and entrepreneurship in all academic programs. On 11th March 2019, the Office of Research and Innovation organized a seminar entitled Creating Effective University Industry Partnerships that Support Commercialization. The presenter of the seminar was Rick Tofani, Director of Applied Research and Innovation Services, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. And the presenter provided an overview of the model used by SAIT to support innovation. This included engagement with industry. This engagement with industry starts with companies completing project inquiry forms. Funding to complete their projects largely comes from federal, provincial, private, institutional, and municipal sources. Most of these funds are directed towards emerging technology areas such as hydroacoustics and their applications to fisheries, precision agriculture, alternative energy, gamification, climate change adaptation, and drone technology. And we heard the principal spoke about the orange and the blue economy. The Polytechnic had an interesting model when it came to intellectual property. SAIT did not attempt to copyright any of the technology it develops. Instead, it depended on the company donating to the institution afterwards, which they did 90% of the time. The event was attended by 18 persons, both students and faculty. The CAFL Office of Research and Innovation is also very happy to be part of BIDC's Exciting Accelerate 2020 project, and we're currently a part of the committee for this project, and the plan is for our researchers at the CAFL campus to help new and existing businesses with innovations to their product, leveraging the scientific, technical, and business skills available at the UWI CAFL campus. Chair, I thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Professor Moore and Chair. I'm pleased to report that over the last year, the Faculty of Social Sciences at CAFL continued to strive for excellence as it played its part in building an excellent global university firmly rooted in the Caribbean. The faculty's activities and initiatives were guided by the AAA strategic plan and the principal's vision of a smart campus for the 21st century. Over the last year, the faculty was especially pleased with its stride in the area of research and publications, which saw the faculty graduate a record 7 PhDs and welcome 3 new full professors. In the area of access, I'm reporting under the KPIs as established on a AAA plan. The faculty saw a healthy increase in the number of Caribbean students enrolled, which moved from 2,580 to 2,900. The faculty already exceed the AAA targets for the first year undergraduate retention rate. We stand at 95%, ahead of the AAA requirement of 90%, and our on-time graduation rate is at 85%, ahead of the 80% target. However, the number of international students enrolled currently stands at 17, which is well short of the target of 30. We either need some more realistic targets or new strategies for getting there. I want to commend our amazing students on their outstanding performances. Our top undergraduate student was Mr. Yannick Polanen, who graduated with a GPA of 4.06, attaining 9 A pluses, 10 A's, 2 A minuses, and 1 B plus. And I'm still not on speaking terms with the faculty member who awarded the B plus. Our graduate student of the year was Miss Bianca Haynes, who attained 13 A's and 1 B plus while pursuing her master's in business analytics. I also want to commend the faculty, the teaching staff, on their commitment to teaching. The faculty attained a median student teaching evaluation score of 4.32 out of a maximum of 5, up from 4.03 in the previous year. And Dr. Alana Griffith, lecturer in sociology, leads the faculty with a median score of 4.92 out of a maximum of 5. I think she deserves some applause. In terms of research, the faculty's per capita research output stood at 1.04, a significant improvement from the 0.8 in the previous year. And we sort of crossed a significant hurdle of getting above an average of 1 per faculty member, but still well short of the AAA target of 2 per faculty member. A median H index for the faculty of 7.6 suggests that our research continues to be impactful in the academic community. Dr. Joan Phillips, senior lecturer in sociology, she leads the faculty with an H index of 20. And the faculty was really quite pleased that we graduated 7 PhDs compared to the previous record of 3 PhDs in 1 year. And we also welcomed 3 new full professors, having gone several years where we had the less than desirable strategy of being a faculty, status of being a faculty with no professors. In terms of agility, again, I'm pleased to report that the faculty was able to attain an operating margin of 10.85%, which is well ahead of the UWI target of a 2% profit margin. We continue to maintain a tight focus on costs, and I'm especially pleased that the faculty's tuition revenues and self-financing programs continue to cover the direct costs of running the faculty without drawing on any economic cost contributions. And in terms of alignment, the Faculty of Social Sciences at KFL has a rich tradition of public engagement in debate and on the issues of the day, and we continue to do extremely well on that particular KPI. The UWI target is that 50% of the faculty serve on external bodies. Currently, 73% of our faculty serve on external bodies. In conclusion, the AAA plan and the Smart Campus vision have provided a clear roadmap for UWI KFL and by extension the Faculty of Social Sciences, and we remain focused on implementing that plan. The faculty aims to be the faculty of choice for Caribbean students, and we view this as a critical first step to being the faculty of choice for international students. We remain committed to excellence as we seek to produce graduates of competence, compassion, and conscience. I also want to thank the UWI leadership for opportunity to perform in this role. This will be my last presentation in this capacity, and that by the time council comes around next year, I would have completed my mandatory 2 terms as dean. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank my colleagues, especially the senior admin staff. Despite my best efforts, they have not allowed me to break anything, so they've gotten through intact. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In the 2018-19 academic year, the Faculty of Law continued to demonstrate excellence in the areas of teaching, research, and publications, helping to fulfill the university's strategic plan goals of access, alignment, and agility. I'll summarize a few of our activities under these 3 strategic plan headings. Firstly, access. As part of improving the quality of its research and publications, the faculty, with the leadership of Professor Kaczorowska Ireland, held staff development workshops on academic publishing. in enhancing the impact of our research and publications, 2 Cave Hill Law academic staff members were inducted into the Hall of Eminent Caribbean International Law Jurists by by the CCJ's legal education arm, CALCA. Other academic staff members were honored by being appointed to regional committees, councils, and boards. With respect to the faculty's 2 main research projects, the University Rights Advocacy Project, or URAP, and the Impact Justice Project, the faculty continued to play a central role in regional legal development. URAP continued its fundraising activities in support of its human rights advocacy agenda, having raised close to $650,000 since inception. URAP members continued their work on litigation in Belize and were successful in their litigation from Guyana, winning their appeal before the Caribbean Court of Justice. The Impact Justice Project continued its work in the area of anti-sexual harassment training by publishing brochures in the area, as well as mediation training initiatives. The project also continued its work on criminal law reform, restorative justice, and the improvement of court processes for children and disabled persons. The faculty remained active on a third project, the EU-funded project on strengthening civil society movement against the death penalty in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean by assisting in organizing interviews for the project surveys. For its international mooting program, the faculty participated in 4 moot court competitions: the John H. Jackson Moot Court Competition in the area of world trade law, the Washington College of Law Inter-American Human Rights Moot Court Competition, the Caribbean Court of Justice International Moot Court Competition, and the Caribbean-China International Law Moot Court Competition. Teams performed commendably in the first 3 competitions, but the latter competition was unfortunately canceled as a result of scheduling issues. In terms of curriculum development, the faculty offered 5 new cutting-edge law courses at the undergraduate level in the areas of international trade law, sports law, forensic criminology, the law related to indigenous peoples, international investment law, and comparative tort law. Through the first of these new courses, the International Trade Labs Clinic course, the faculty provided pro bono advice to international and regional clients on trade law issues and joined the Trade Lab team of clinics globally. As a result, this activity also fulfills our alignment goal. In terms of increasing student satisfaction, law students were honored in 2 Dean's List ceremonies over the course of the year. They were also financially assisted with the provision of 3 Students Trust Fund law bursaries in the amount of Barbados $3,000 each, and 1 private book grant in the amount of $1,000. The faculty also received a very generous donation from the Toronto law firm of Koski Minsky LLP of Barbados $5,000, which has been used to support the Students Trust Fund law in the current academic year. Perhaps the signal new initiative by the faculty over the last year was the expansion of our LLM programs to include 2 new double degree programs. The first, run with the University of Leuphana, based in Lunenburg, Germany, is a double LLM degree that allows a student to gain 2 LLMs, 1 from each institution, over the course of 12 calendar months. The second, a combined LLM Executive MBA degree, run in partnership with the Sagicor Cave Hill School of Business, will provide 2 degrees over a period of 2.5 years, rather than the usual 3-year period. Both degrees are novel in the UE system, since they were designed specifically to integrate into existing programs in each institution. As a result, they will incur no additional resource costs. Every single student admitted into one of the programs will bring additional profit. Alignment. In line with the goal of creating further academic and industry partnerships, the faculty established the Dean's Council, a body comprised of equal parts academic staff, business persons, and attorneys at law. Over the course of several meetings, the Dean's Council, chaired by Oliver Jordan, CEO of ICBL, helped guide the faculty in terms of both outreach and fundraising. In terms of internationalization, the faculty was pleased to jointly host a United Nations Nippon Fellow with Surmies. The faculty was also pleased to be able to offer several guest lectures to the university community and public during the course of the reporting period, notably including lectures by the President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Justice Adrian Saunders, and the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, both of whom are proud alumni of Cave Hill Law. Finally, under Agility, as part of its outreach and fundraising activities, the faculty hosted 2 major workshops and a continuing professional development course. The first workshop, jointly hosted between UWI, Queen's Law, and the Organization of American States on International Law, was held in March 2019. It brought together legal scholars from across the region and broader hemisphere and was the first OAS-sponsored workshop of its kind in the Caribbean. Previous ones had been held in Latin America, North America only. The second, the 18th Annual Caribbean Commercial Law Workshop, focused on issues related to public debt restructuring and Caribbean economies, and this was co-hosted with the University of Havana and was the first event held by the Faculty of Law outside the English-speaking Caribbean in Havana, Cuba. Both workshops attended strong support from sponsors and were praised by attendees. The faculty also offered a UE certificate in public procurement law in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, to an audience of lawyers, business persons, and public sector officials with an interest in procurement law issues. Like Dean Justin Robinson, this is my last chance to report to Campus Council. My term ends as well. It has been a privilege. Chair, that is my report on the activities of Cave Hill Law. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, for the past, but the academic year that we're reporting on, 2018-2019, the faculty continues to focus its attention on bridging the gap between STEM research and its commercialization. We also look to ensure that we participate in the development of the necessary STEM ecosystem for Barbados, which will enable the gap to be reduced. So I will highlight a number of events and initiatives that took place under that area, but I will firstly start with some statistics that will occur under the area of access. Some interesting statistics would be that, for example, within the faculty, during that time, we increased, our undergraduate numbers increased by 114 to roughly 941. But what was interesting here is that the fastest growing discipline of computer studies, which would be computer science, IT, and software engineering, has grown to 40% of the total undergraduate numbers and is growing at a rapid rate. Our also growing quickly is our first class honors. Our percentage has grown to 22%, so year on year we are growing. So I would like to thank the staff for their hard work, because without them this would not be possible. I think our highest GPA was 4.2 something in terms of the students. Also, the 2 PhD students that we had for the year are actually the first 2 in environmental studies, so they'll be the first 2 to graduate with a PhD in environmental studies. And finally, we also align ourselves with the recommendations of the report for the renewal of the faculty, starting with the short courses, and the faculty has created, in conjunction with cybersecurity experts in Barbados, 2 cybersecurity short courses to be taught by the Center for Professional Learning and Professional Lifelong Learning. One of the main events that took place would be what we call Nerd Day, which has now been officially renamed as the Faculty's Innovation and Entrepreneurship Day. It would have been the second offering, and it took place on February 28th. And during that particular day, we focus on our graduates who have started entrepreneurial activities, as well as to provide some workshops and sessions for our students to engage in that area. That is an area that we urgently need to strengthen. So 2 of the presentations were given by our past graduates. We had 2 chemists who have started a company, 2 chemistry graduates who started a company, Oasis Laboratory, and they focus on cosmetic business using natural and local ingredients, Mr. Keemar Codgerton and Mikhail Eversley. And also Mr. George Thomas, he gave a presentation focusing on entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. And he's the founder and CEO of Mongoose Development Incorporated, a software or a fintech company might be the best way to put it. We also joined Amazon AWS Educate. This gives students and staff access to Amazon's robust set of free tools and resources for cloud and cloud-related learning areas such as Alexa, gaming, Internet of Things, machine learning, and so on. It is free. We would join the 2,400 institutions that are already within this program. By joining that, it allows us to focus on the area of artificial intelligence. And in fact, we have teamed up with First Caribbean, who have given a total of 15,000 Barbados dollars for the purchasing of equipment and so on to leverage that technology. And we are looking at the area of customer service and AI. One of the biggest highlights of the year also was the first Science and Technology Festival. This is in collaboration with the National Council for Science and Technology within the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Smart Technology. That took place March 14th and 15th. Actually, the second offering was last week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The focus of the festival is twofold. We want to inspire the youth to see STEM as a viable career choice by exposing them to the various demonstrations and of local use and creativity within the area. But also it has, it satisfies a need, that's the word I'm looking for within developing a STEM ecosystem by giving an opportunity for all local persons directly and indirectly involved in STEM to come under one roof for 2 or 3 days, sharing ideas and collaboration, building new businesses, and so on. During that year, we had 54 groups come in, mostly schools from nursery to tertiary levels. That number actually increased to 98 this year. This also includes special needs schools, where we continue to adopt our science for all philosophy. So we do not make a distinction between the schools, between students with and without disabilities. So they're all there together as one group. The number of exhibitors remained the same this year and the current year. The previous year, around 38, but the actual exhibitions, actually increased in size. We actually are running out of space. So when we first started, we used one of the 2 tents, the graduation tents. Now this year, the 2 tents are not enough, and we might have to next year add more tents outside to accommodate the need or the demand. Actually, this year, the highlight was actually the Barbados Defense Force and their technology with drones and so on. I'll just end by saying that under agility, we participated in, we usually participate every year in Girls in ICT Day, which usually takes place around April 25th. This time we decided to have our own event. In the past, we used to help with others. And we try to encourage, this year we asked our female students in computer science, IT, software engineering, and electronics to submit whatever they felt like doing, audio clip, video clip of why they love computer science. Numbers weren't that great, but of submissions, but I suspect next year it will reach fantastic heights. Lastly, we also, within our faculty website and other pages, social media pages, creating an entrepreneurship hub where we are putting information for our students on areas related to entrepreneurship, such as how to register a business, and so on. That is it for me, Chair. Unlike the other 2 deans, I am not going anywhere this year.
Thank you. Dean Adams.
Students from Barbados, the Bahamas, and St. Vincent, in that order of frequency, made up the remainder. The program continues to be CAM-HP accredited, and as the principal indicated, recognized by the National Committee for Foreign Medical Education and Accreditation of the Department of Education of the United States. In our postgraduate programs, our doctor of medicine programs remain fully subscribed, and at the end of the year, we had 10 persons graduate with a diploma in family medicine, 2 with an MSc in family medicine, 6 with a Master of Public Health, 13 with a Doctor of Medicine in various medical specialties, and 2 PhDs, two with PhDs. At the beginning of last academic year, the Faculty of Medical Sciences launched its first nursing programs, the MSc Nursing Administration and the MSc Nursing Education, and we have plans of increasing the offerings, especially in the area of pediatric nursing. During the course of the year, an arrangement was made with the University of Glasgow to accept 5 of our MBBS clinical students per year for electives without a fee. The arrangements with King's College London to accept 5 students a year remains in place. The first quality assurance review of a doctor of medicine program was completed with psychiatry being reviewed. Our cross-campus postgraduate university medical curriculum committee was set up to ensure good governance and harmonization of DM programs across all campuses. A student assistance fund set up in the previous academic year in order to receive voluntary donations from staff members continued. During the last academic year, 6 students with financial need benefited from grants. And on November the 9th, the second annual 2020 cricket match on the floodlights at the Three Divers Oval was held between staff and students, with staff winning by 13 runs under the Duckworth-Lewis system. You will have to wait until my report next year to hear the results of the 2019 November match. But we've had our third match. My reluctance to report it, the result would give some indication of the result. FMS staff continue to complete and benefit from the postgraduate certificate of university teaching and learning. 8 persons were awarded the certificate, including 2 temporary and 2 associate lecturers. In research, the adult and pediatric ECHO cohort projects and the lifestyle intervention with metformin escalation project called the LIME project, that's a diabetes prevention project. All NIH-funded projects continued. The goals of the LIME project are to determine if evidence-based lifestyle interventions, along with metformin tablets, if necessary, can prevent diabetes can be effective in Caribbean populations, and to strengthen the capacity and readiness of organizations in the region to implement evidence-based interventions. It is a pragmatic trial embedded in the public sector polytechnic system of Barbados. And that will also probably come under alignment as well. There were 34 publications in reputable peer-reviewed journals and 1 book chapter published by FMS staff. Increased agility. The Faculty of Medical Sciences, along with the Faculty of Science and Technology University of Ghana, developed a BSc in Preclinical Sciences, which was approved by the Board of Undergraduate Studies, UWI. This degree will be articulated with the MB-CHB degree of University of Ghana. The program has subsequently received University of Ghana University Council approval in July 2019. It now awaits Ghanaian National Council on Higher Education and Ghanaian Medical and Dental Council approval. Alignment between industry and academia. Staff members played important roles in the delivery of health care at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, with, for example, 4 successful kidney transplants that were conducted by a surgical team led by Dr. Margaret O'Shea, lecturer in surgery, UWI. Several staff members played important roles in several other organizations, including the Barbados Medical Council, Barbados National Formulary Committee, National Task Force on Wellness, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Chair, this concludes my report on the activities of the FMS, and I will be likely to be back next year to report again.
Thank you, Dean Adams. Dean Odiambo.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Now, on curriculum development, in 2018-2019 academic year, the faculty saw the approval of a revised master's program in theology, the focus of the program being Caribbean African theology, and this was consistent with the university's strategic plan of 2017-2022. The Department of History and Philosophy developed an MPhil PhD program in philosophy, and it is going through the approval process. The discipline of Cultural Studies also developed a BA program, which is in approval process. As a result of a request made by the student body, the Confucius Institute developed a co-curricular course in Chinese culture. The EBCCI also embarked on the review and redesign of its academic curricula. From August-September 2018, the School of Education started to provide graduate studies in education through partnering with the national colleges in the Eastern Caribbean countries to deliver their graduate degrees in their respective countries, thus removing the need for the graduate students to leave family, job, and other obligations to come to KVille campus to study, as was the case previously. On student matters, The faculty remained committed to the academic well-being of its students, and in this respect, the faculty worked closely with the graduate student body to resuscitate the student-staff liaison meetings. It is hoped that these meetings will be a regular feature in the faculty's calendar. In addition, as a way of keeping abreast of the progress of its graduate students, the faculty office started compiling a database of its graduate students, indicating members of each student's advisory supervisory committee and whether or not the student's current progress report had been submitted. This enabled the faculty office to track the progress of its graduate students with ease rather than rely wholly on the School of Graduate Studies and Research for information on the progress of graduate students. Academic matters regarding undergraduate intake and graduation results. For the academic year 2018-19, the student intake for all undergraduate degree programs in the faculty was 389, which was an increase of 4.8% over the previous year. A total of 109 undergraduate students were awarded degrees from the faculty. Of this amount, 69 were awarded the Bachelor of Arts, 39 Bachelor of Education, and 1 Bachelor of Fine Arts. These results included 24 graduates gaining first-class honors. Yes, you may clap. 47 upper second class, 25 lower second class, and 13 who received a pass. Bachelors of Education accounted for the majority of the first-class honors degree, with 9 awardees. At graduate level, for this year under review, there were 187 active graduate registrations for all the programs in the faculty. When compared to the previous academic year, registration in the Masters of Education and Masters of Philosophy increased by 59% and 13% respectively. Registration of the Doctor of Philosophy declined by 11%, and a small decline was also recorded in the Master of Arts program. For 2018-19, there were 48 graduate students completing their various programs. These included 8 at PhD level with 1 high commendation, 2 MAs with 1 distinction, 21 MEDs with 4 distinctions, and 2 MPhils. On some milestones, the faculty congratulated Professor Donna Maria Maynard on her appointment to the professorial rank. Right, I thank you on her behalf. The faculty recognized and thanked Professor Evelyn O'Callaghan for her sterling service as she concluded her tenure as Dean of the faculty at the end of July 2019. The faculty also bade farewell to retiring staff members, Mr. Harclyde Walcott, Officer in charge of EBCCI, Dr. Anne Ferguson, Instructor in the Academic Literacies Program, and Ms. Neri Torres, who demitted her post as Lecturer in Dance EBCCI. The faculty recorded its thanks to these members of staff for their dedicated service to the UWI. Chair, I want to reiterate that it is the faculty's intention to continue serving the campus as its heartbeat. And finally, unlike my other colleagues, I think I'm the youngest, I'm the last born, the kid on the block, so I still have quite some time to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. I believe now we have Dr. Mansingh giving a report by Zoom on the Academy of Sports.
The Faculty of Sport.
The Faculty of Sport.
Thank you, Chair. The Faculty of Sport, as you may recall, was established in 2017 as a faculty across all campuses. And so this presentation, though it is Cave Hill specific, will jump from time to time to the faculty as a whole, and then to Cave Hill Academy of Sport as is necessitated. The faculty, when we started in 2017, spent that whole year trying to put together our regulations. But we did inherit one certificate program, one BSc and 3 MSc programs, which included the BSc and MSc in Sports Science at Cave Hill. Over the period of 2018-2019, the faculty was able to add 3 BSc programs, 6 MSc programs, as well as our MPhil PhD program, and this is across the campuses. And just to take you forward to this year, I'm happy to say that all campuses now have students in the Faculty of Sport. At Cave Hill, during 2018-2019, both our BSc in Sports Science program and our MSc Sports Science, which is a double degree with the University of New Brunswick, were dwindling. There was a marked drop in our bachelor's intake, mainly because of lack of financial assistance from the government, and there was almost a period of extinction or impending extinction for our master's program. However, with the change of policies in Barbados, we've strengthened our numbers so that the Faculty of Sport today has 319 students, 139 of whom are in Cave Hill, with 122 doing the bachelor's program and 17 doing the master's program. So this is almost 100% increase in the bachelor's program over the period I'm reporting, and the master's program has moved from 5 to 17. During the period of 2018-2019, the Faculty of Sport had its first graduates. Those from the two programs at Cave Hill, which is the Bachelor's in Sports Science and the Master's in Sports Science, who were inherited students. So they were already in the program from before and were transferred to the faculty when the faculty came into existence. And we had another graduate who had joined us a year before that at Mona and graduated as one who joined and finished with the faculty. But we're proud that we actually had our first graduates last year, and of course our numbers are growing as time goes on. In the realm of sport, during this period, we were the regional champions of 50 over cricket through our combined campuses and colleges team. And that was a massive achievement, which we're very proud about. Additionally, at Cave Hill, or in Barbados, our Cave Hill Blackbirds were national champions for many competitions, inclusive of cricket, football, volleyball, and just about most of the competitions that we had entered in. I also want to make special mention of Floyd Reefer, who was appointed the West Indies senior men's cricket team interim coach for the World Cup that took place during this period. And the additions that he gave to West Indies cricket were at the expense of the Cave Hill and UWI cricket program, but nonetheless, we're very proud of him and his achievements. During this period, we also signed a MOU with the Argentine Football Association, facilitated by the Argentine Embassy in Barbados, which will allow us to tap into the Argentine Football Association system and have exchanges of coaches, etc. We're currently in the process of trying to put together a CCC football team that we will send to Argentina, hopefully at the end of this year, COVID permitting. With regards to our outreach programs, we had gotten a grant from the Caribbean Development Bank looking at 3 main structures, but with regards to outreach, we had launched the READ program, the Regional Emerging Athlete Development Program, whereby 3 regional athletes who we thought would be potential stars at the Tokyo Olympics were selected from amongst the entire region, and this included a fast bowler from Barbados and a swimmer from Barbados. And we supplied them with not only equipment, but scientific testing, sports science testing at our labs in Barbados, flew in the coaches and the athletes for those who needed to come from overseas, put them through an entire battery of sports science testing, including psychological testing, anthropometric testing, medical testing, and of course their fitness parameters, devised a program for them, and then put them out into the field and are bringing them back for retesting. This program is a pilot because we can see this rolling out on a larger scale across the Caribbean. Also from that CDB grant was a CIP, Community Inclusion Project, where we took 2 communities from around the Mona campus and St. Augustine campus and brought children aged 9 to 16 in for 8 weeks on a Saturday to teach them the virtues of sport, the ethics of sport, opportunities in sport. We got top sport icons of the countries to come and speak to them. This once again was a pilot project, and CDB is now very interested in expanding that throughout the Caribbean, starting with Barbados. And so hopefully Cave Hill will get that in their report next year. But the other main focus of the CDB project was an infrastructural need assessment where they assess all of our assets, sporting assets on all campuses. This includes the buildings, the fields, the personnel, the labs, to give us an idea of where we stand so that we can put together our business plan, which is the top priority of this faculty right now, how to monetize our assets. While I speak, that inception report, the draft report, is being presented to the faculty. So I'm jumping between meetings. As the first report from this engineering company that was selected, talking about all of the campuses. And as I said, will inform us to our business report, which will be ready by the middle of this year, so that we can actually have a plan to present to each campus and move forward with monetizing our assets. During the period of 2018-2019, we also launched the Pace Like Fire campaign, which was to identify fast bowlers not currently known in the region. This was done in conjunction with Flow Sports, and we went to 6 territories around the Caribbean, filming young fast bowlers we just asked to come out and bowl. We filmed them and we measured them with a radar gun. And out of the 150 odd bowlers that came, we then shortlisted it to 15 and brought them in for special training at Cave Hill. I'm happy to say that 2 of the bowlers out of that seem to be very promising with fast speeds, who are not actually in their national programs and are trying to get into it from as of now. During the period, we also held the inaugural World T20 University competition at St. Augustine. But it was done in conjunction with the CPL. Now, not only did the CCC team, our own team, beat Oxford University in the finals, but in conjunction with CPL, we were able to get the top batsman, bowler, fielder, all-rounder, and wicketkeeper to train with CPL teams during their camps prior to the last season. And that included the Barbados Tridents, who brought on a player to train with them. Going forward, we are looking at strengthening our academic programs, and we have 2 distinct lines right now. The sports science line, which includes programs in sports coaching, sports kinetics, sports sciences, with complementary masters and MPhil PhD. And we've also started our BSc Sports Leadership and Management program through the Open Campus and a master's in sports business management at Mona. The idea is that as we pass, it's a collective effort to get these programs put together. And as we pass them on one campus, we look at its feasibility on other campuses and roll them out. One of the problems we've been having, however, is lack of academic staff. And in fact, our main problem right now is even recognition of the role of the faculty within a campus. Happily, the Vice-Chancellor has called a meeting at the end of this month to try and sort that out, because it has implications on how we can recruit more academic staff and expand our programs. For example, our MPhil PhD candidates right now are all registered through Mona, even though they come from different territories, simply because it's the only academy which has the capacity to supervise and take them forward. We are involved in a few other things with regards to agility, in that we're looking at programs that are being approved through Cave Hill for pitch and ground preparation and other aspects of sports field management, which we're hoping to roll out throughout the Caribbean. And if this is done, it'll attract the curators of hopefully all of the fields, the major fields throughout the Caribbean. So as a faculty, 2018-2019 was about starting programs, recruiting students, I'm happy to say that during this period, we've expanded the number of academic offerings we've had. We've expanded our relevance to the society in most of our countries. And it's now a matter of looking at revenue generation and perhaps better staff structuring on the campuses, which we'll report to you for next year. Thank you very much.
And now would call on the principal to complete her report.
Thank you, Chair. I would also like to start by thanking the Deputy Principal and all the deans for those excellent synopses of all the work that they and their colleagues have done over the last academic year. It is quite, they have managed to give you the highlights, and I'm part of that. You always have to choose and select because so much is done on the campus. So I want to thank all of them. I also want to especially thank deans, the two deans, Professor Justin Robinson for an excellent term of office, and Dr. David Berry. Similarly, they both have led their respective faculties for 8 years. And so we know that we will be welcoming the Cavell campus will be welcoming 2 new deans, but I also want to put on record my own appreciation for the leadership that they have shown over that period. I also want, just before I go into the last statement that I want to make in wrapping up, I also want to inform Council of 2 upcoming events. You know, the Council meeting is, you do this dance because it is really supposed to focus on the past year, a report on the stewardship of the past year, but sometimes it's very difficult to ignore things that are very prominent, and you have to highlight, much as we mentioned in relation to the Faculty of Culture being opened on Emancipation Day. And these 2 events are that on May 18th, Monday, May 18th, we will formally open the Mutual Building in Bridgetown. And this will take the Cavell campus fully into the Bridgetown community. And a goal of the campus has always been to operate within the community, the wider community, and we will open the Mutual Building in Bridgetown on Monday, May 18th. So mark it on your calendars. The formal invitations will come and so on. But what the opening of this building does, it enables the campus to run classes, offer public lectures, provide incubator space for startup companies in software engineering. The building has been we were very pleased to receive the first part of the work had been done with funding from our Chinese counterparts and in the UWI program. And after the retrofitting had been completed, the Vice-Chancellor negotiated with the Caribbean Development Bank, and we were able to receive about $500,000 in funding to do the information technology upgrades. And so by the time we come to the opening of the building, everything is in place. It's a very beautiful space. We will hold public lectures there. We will hold some of our extension classes there, and we will offer incubator space, minimum rent, to startup companies. The other event that I want to tell you that is upcoming on May 22nd, Friday, May 22nd, the Cavell campus will have the pleasure of renaming this building that we are in, the Hillary McDonald Beckles Administration Complex. This is the campus's way of signaling its deep appreciation for the significant and substantive contribution made by Principal Beckles, 2002 to 2015, in transforming the physical and educational infrastructure of the Cavell campus. And any of you who knew Cavell before 2002 and the Cavell, you know, the building that we are standing in was an outcome of his work, and it is all over, and we are very proud of it, and we want to signal our appreciation, so we will rename this building on May 22nd. And also, we see this building as a celebration of African architecture in Barbados and I say the Eastern Caribbean, but I kind of think that I don't know where else in the Caribbean we have such a celebration of African architecture, and that stands out. And also even the layout to the front. I don't know how many of you know that when you park, you're parking next to fruit trees, that instead of just giving shade, they also provide fruit, and there was a lot of thought and care that went into that, and the Cable campus think this is a fitting way that we would signal our appreciation for the work Principal Beckles has done 2002 to 2015. Now, Chair, you have heard from the senior management of the campus, the deans and I. You will hear from the bursar a little later on, and at some point the registrar will speak to you. But we have sought to demonstrate that we have led the campus throughout adversity and beyond. And we were doing that and still implementing the targets of the 2017-2022 AAA strategic plan. And I was very pleased when the deans reported they aligned what they had done and what they are doing with the overarching goals of the plan. So, and I'm sure PVC Williams is also pleased, because that is his portfolio, or one of his responsibilities, to keep a watch on the plan. The team at Cable remains dedicated to advancing UWI's mission and to working with the governments of Barbados and the region to provide a first-class range of educational goods and services to fuel educational growth. As you can see, as you have heard, we are actively pursuing revenue-earning strategies, and we have clearly demonstrated proven financial management and visionary leadership. I can state that the campus is confident, resolute, resilient, and committed to the revitalization of Barbados and the Caribbean. And we are also fully ready to deal with whatever challenges lies ahead. There are two colleagues in particular that I want to thank. I wish to thank Mr. Ed Clark, who served the campus and the University of the West Indies with distinction as chair of the campus's audit committee for Cable and the Open Campus. And he's also served as a long-standing member of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, and also as a member of council. And as you would recall during my presentation, he would always ask about what are we doing about the enrollment of young men. The Cable campus especially wants to thank our campus registrar, Mr. Kenneth Walters, for his 14 years of dedicated service and for always being a proven team player. I have enjoyed and continue to enjoy working with Ken. He is a man for all seasons. And if you look there, you will see that he is also a man who seems quite adept at knowing his seasoning. You see him playing, he's in the role of a chef. He is a Cable man. He is always approachable, always committed to finding solutions to Cable challenges. I have to tell you a secret though. If he asks me for a meeting and he's smiling a lot, I get worried, because his first approach when there's something serious that we have to sit down and pound out is to smile and laugh, which is very good, because he smiles and then we get around to it. And I think that's an excellent skill to have, that you could, it doesn't mean you don't take the issue seriously, but you diffuse the tension associated with it. Ken, the campus wishes you a long, joyful, and healthy retirement, and you will always be a Cable man. And you and I have, we have made dates that on a Thursday, midday for style, we'll have drinks at Pelican and do whatever we feel like. Chair, Vice-Chancellor, members of council, our internet and cable audience, I thank you. Thank you.
I know I thanked you before, Principal, but I think it deserves a second round of applause and a second thank you. It now gives me pleasure to invite the Vice-Chancellor to make some comments with regard to this meeting and of this campus and of the university. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of Council, Principal. Thank you all very much. And before I express my opinions going forward, I wish to thank you, Principal and colleagues, for this naming issue. I just reflected, I do not wish to be morbid, but I must tell you a story because a few years ago I had termites at my home here in Barbados. And I invited the termite man to come and do his job, and he came to my house with his crew. And he was very upset. He was very upset when he saw the termites. And I said, what's the problem? This is your job. This is your profession. You should be happy. He said, Professor Beckles, let me tell you something. It's not the house they're coming for, you know. It's you they're coming for. It's you. It's you they really want. Yeah, yeah. So I say that to say that you will have, therefore, to promise me that there will be no termites in this building.
You promise.
But thank you very much. And what a tremendous honor it is, once again, to be called upon to comment and reflect upon the leadership of Professor Bartow of this very distinguished campus, and to offer my opinions on the extraordinary work she and her team have done here to really keep this campus on the cutting edge of the UWI system. And to begin by, first of all, congratulating her on this tremendous national Barbados honor, the freedom of Barbados, and the most honorable. I am a historian, and I know that history makes folly of all of us. I met Professor Bartow when she was a student on this campus. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago, but I can tell you that I was also a student myself, and I walked into the guild looking for lunch one day and met Professor Bartow. So that tells you we go back quite a long time, and how would I have known that she would have been the most honorable at that time. But that is the nature of our university, and critically, it is the nature of our young people, that our young people, when given opportunities, they do excel. And as a student, back then, I am so extraordinarily proud of where she has gone and what she has done and where she is now. Wonderful. Congratulations, Professor Bartow. We are met within the context of the COVID-19, as you are all aware, and we are doing our very, very best, not only to contribute to Caribbean solutions and global solutions to this public health crisis, but also ensuring that our university community is provided with the best possible leadership to make sure that we are safe and sound. And, 6 weeks ago, when we first engaged on this subject, we were focusing on looking after our students in China. That was our immediate anxiety, taking care of our students at our center in China. And we did that, I think, reasonably well, and now we are taking care of ourselves here now in the Caribbean, speaking really to how the conversation has evolved.
Yes.
And week by week, day by day, the situation is evolving. And I wish to thank all of my colleagues. Special thanks, of course, to our university registrar, who has been coordinating all of this with absolute elegance and eloquence. And Dr. Smith, thank you. Thank you so much. And all of our colleagues across the system. But as Principal Bartow would say from time to time, we will not be defined by the crisis around us.
Yes.
That has become her mantra, and we will not be defined by COVID-19. We will confront it, we will do what we have to do, and as I speak, we are now planning post-COVID UWI, because we are looking far beyond it to make sure that this university continues to thrive. The work of the campus, Principal Bartow and her team has been outstanding. And a classic example of this really is the 7 years of accreditation that has been granted by the Barbados Accreditation Authority. Now, if you imagine, here's a campus that has gone through all kinds of financial enrollment challenges, all kinds of difficulty. International accreditors come in here, meet with the campus community, the leadership, the staff, the vision, the stakeholders, and express their absolute amazement by the work that has been done and given maximum accreditation. That is a phenomenal achievement. We do not take these things for granted. We should not take these things for granted. If you acquire maximum accreditation in a crisis situation, you can only get that, especially the report, which I read very carefully, in which the assessors issued commendation to the leadership of the campus for an extraordinary, well-done job in a very difficult situation. So, Principal, again, congratulations to you and team for securing UWI's reputation in a very difficult circumstance. Gratitude is hereby expressed. Of course, we have to go beyond the issue of resilience into the culture of thriving, because that is where our imagination takes us. And I am very pleased by the way in which, Principal, you and your team have adhered to the AAA strategy and vision, how you have mobilized that instrument, how you have used that tool, the AAA strategy, and I'm sure Professor Williams is very pleased by how the KFL campus has utilized that instrument to drive the campus, allocate resources, and to make strategic decisions. I'm also impressed too with the way in which the leadership has been able to secure the support of the private sector and the public sector in moving this campus forward. When we arrived here for the fundraising gala, and we saw a tent filled with private sector support, it was absolutely wonderful to see the private sector, the corporate community, coming out in large numbers to endorse their support of the leadership of the campus and where it is going. That was a great, again, another signal of excellent leadership following upon the accreditation process. And finally, the question in respect of the government of Barbados rallying around the campus, looking at its financial difficulty, its enrollment difficulty, and giving full support. 3 moments of commendation. Principal, I wish to thank you, and also Lisa Aline, our bursar, for the skill in which you have managed your diminishing resources. That has that was no simple matter. In a financial crisis within an institution, within a financial crisis in the country, cascading into every faculty of the campus, and the way you have garnered your resources to get things done. Lisa, you are a magician, and I know it wasn't easy because you had to make some very tough decisions. But guess what, Principal? That is what good leadership is, making very tough decisions, and KFIL stayed financially afloat. We thank the government of Barbados, the Prime Minister especially, for settling our affairs within the context of the recent circumstances, and the campus is now in a much better position than it was hitherto. And that is, we're not out of the woods, but we're not deep into it either. And that is wonderful. So thank you all again for this extraordinary leadership. I am full of praise, of course, of the KFL Blackbirds brand. It is one of the greatest brands of the Caribbean. And again, colleagues, don't take it for granted. Don't take the KFL brand for granted. It is now a global brand. All over the world now in the area of sport, the KFL brand there. And it's a wonderful thing because many people have said, how did this brand thing start? Well, when we were branding KFL Sport, some of the students were saying, well, we should call them the KFL Lions. I recall a conversation in which I said, have you ever seen a lion at KFL campus? I said, well, why don't you look around you and see what is in your ecosystem? The most populous organism on our campus is the blackbird. The place is filled. There are more blackbirds than students at KFL. And that is how we started. KFL Blackbirds, because we're giving respect to the majority. We're giving respect to the majority of living inhabitants at the University of the West Indies KFL campus. And that is how the whole thing started. So, and then, of course, the question, why blackbirds? Not only because they are the majority populace, but because they are really beautiful birds. That beautiful, glossy black coat, critically, they are very domesticated. They live among us. They live comfortably among us. They come into our homes. They eat our crumbs and they eat on our tables. And Principal Bartow, within that domesticity of comfortable living, humans and a blackbird, there is a philosophy of sport. Do not trouble them. Do not trouble the young, and do not interfere with them. Because if they do, they will defend themselves. And you cannot have a better philosophy for sports than that. We play sport nicely with everyone, but if you come to KFL and interfere with us, we will defend ourselves most robustly. So happy that the blackbirds are now out on the water.
Yeah. We can cross the start line.
And we know that the fisherman's daughter has given special blessings to the sailing folk.
Yeah, man.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, thanks, as the Dean has said, to those who are responsible for the success of the Blackbird's legacy, and the Reefers, Floyd Reefer, who has taken the cricket project to a phenomenal level of not only dominating sport in Barbados cricket-wise, but leading the UWI team to the regional championship. What an incredible achievement. And also Mrs. Amanda Reefer for building the brand, developing the brand, bringing in funds, and helping Sports KFL. Congratulations to her also. Yes, that will come at the end. And I go on to add my comments in respect to the global vision of the campus, and congratulate the principal also on her leadership of the medical faculty into Africa. I know that she's had the benefit of her dean and Dr. Connell, who is here. Congratulations on the Ghana project, and of course with the Kenya project to come, but sending out a message into Africa. It seems as if the KFL campus principal is on target to become the African continental force, because you have your medical faculty now working with Ghana and hopefully with Kenya also. The UWI Johannesburg Institute for Global Africa is located here, and also the Glasgow UWI Reparatory Justice Program is also situated here. So you have a cluster of these African initiatives at the KFL campus. All of this, of course, cascades very, very nicely into your faculty of culture and performing arts, because a great deal of that performance is really at the subculture derived from the African roots of this island. The final project I wish to thank you for is really your support for UETV. Many of the projects you discuss, Principal, the town hall meetings, the Prime Minister coming here to engage the campus, all of these things, very, very lovely at the front, but at the back of it is UETV. Sending it out to the world, UETV out there to the world. Even this very meeting, the whole world will just have heard the principal's report, thanks to UETV, that has given a communications revolution, in fact, within UWI has been launched in respect of UETV, headquartered here at the Cave campus, and thanking you for providing them with the facilities, and thanking Ms. Janet Carew and her team for providing brilliant, outstanding leadership to this project. Colleagues, a few small items in respect of the wider UWI system. As you know, very rarely now do we speak of UWI. We speak of the UWI system, because the 20th century UWI that we all grew up in and loved dearly is no more. It is now the 21st century UWI system. We now have 4 landed campuses, now the 5 islands. And if we take this opportunity of this meeting here, this is the first meeting principle in which the 5 islands is now a part of our community. We are now, in addition to the 5th campus, we now have 9 international centers: New York, Canada, Ontario, Suzhou, China, Johannesburg, Lagos, Nigeria, Bogota, Colombia, and Cuba, the UWI University of Havana Institute for Sustainable Development, and Canada, yes, and now we are working through our center in the European Union. In the European Union, we now are, in fact, I was expected to travel to Florence, Italy. I was expected to travel there in a few weeks to sign the agreement to establish the UWI European Union Institute, which would take care of the interests of Caribbean people in the European Union post-Brexit. Very important development, but we will do that at another time.
Another time.
And in addition, we are laying the foundation. So now we have our campuses in the core, our global centers, and surrounding all of that is UE Global Online, which we are getting ready to take all of the programs that are very attractive out of our campuses, go online, and make all of these programs available to the world, because the world is where we have now imagined our growth. We have 50,000 students within the UWI. We have students from 91 countries in the world. In most of those countries, we have a few students, like we have 10 from Russia, like 5 from Turkey, 2 from Iran, and we have students from all over the world. But we need now to grow those numbers through our online strategy. So hopefully we can double UWI's enrollment within 5 or 6 years by UE Global Online. And so we have moved into a different era. The reputation of our university has never been higher, and the reach of our university has never been further. So this is a new moment for us, which we will now use to define us. And I saw that our principal has placed in her report the mission of UWI, an excellent global university rooted in the Caribbean. That is what we are, excellent global university rooted in the Caribbean. And finally, colleagues will be happy to know that our commitment to our stakeholders to roll out a new financial strategy to strengthen our financial sustainability and health is quite active. On Monday, the campus was able to host the first of the many workshops where we are meeting with the private sector and the leadership of the private sector to work through with the UWI a new income generating strategy by inviting private investors to make investments in the University of the West Indies. We have relied upon the private sector for many years to make philanthropic contributions to UWI. We are now moving beyond philanthropic contributions to investment opportunities. So yes, we are going to establish the UWI group of companies, and that group of companies, however we define it, will be a standalone financial institution, and that institution will then be inviting investors to invest in the University Inc. Through whatever modalities we deem to be relevant, whether they are private shares, ordinary shares, preference shares, what have we. But all of these conversations are now galloping at quite a pace, and we imagine that the sustainability of our university going forward will depend upon campuses putting up market-ready projects. Market-ready projects. And many of the projects the principal has identified, the transformation of the St. Joseph into a for-profit hospital. That will have to be a venture between the university, the government, and of course, the private sector. Additional dormitories, again, more dormitories, real estate projects. The principal has spoken about the possibility of a university hotel, a conference complex. These are all projects that will invite private investment, and we will develop them as private investment opportunities rather than reliance upon the state for grants and subventions. And this is the future. The St. Augustine campus is out there at quite a pace, rolling out its international medical school to have hundreds of medical students from all over the world coming to study medicine in this new institution. It will be a private sector driven investment project. Mona is doing the same as we speak. So all of our campuses are now on the cusp of making this transition into a reality where the investment community will be driving these for-profit objectives. These are institutions that will serve the university, but they must bring revenue now into the campuses to help with the sustainability. So this is where we are. And Cave campus is really the campus that will give us the language for the future. This campus has been tested. It has truly been tested in a way that no other campus has been tested. To see the collapse of the funding model where the state withdrew the funding for the students, and the collapse of the enrollment from near 10,000 to just 3,000, and then the state coming back to say, no, we are going to restore the funding investment in the young people, and to see this enrollment rising again, and all of that, Professor Bartow, under your leadership, it has been an extraordinary achievement, because this campus could have gone under. But thanks to you and all of your colleagues, it stabilized, and now it is once again thriving. And that experience will now go into the DNA of the UWI as a whole, and it will guide us into the future. So congratulations again, Principal, to you and your team, to everyone. An extraordinary job. Well done. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. I have to say that your energy and your ability to think outside the box and take the university forward makes the difference, and certainly you have our support from this campus.